Hello and welcome to the Lost Pines Workshop. I'm JC Jensen. So this is Build a Classic Dresser, episode 16, the through dovetails for the back of our drawers. Okay, so in our last episode, we finished up cutting out the half blind dovetails for the two drawer sides and the front. In this one, obviously, we're going to dive into the back. And as I stated previously, we did 5 dovetails for the half blinds. We did 5 across the front, this being 7 inches. Odd number, right? Looks good. Well, in the back, that's not as important because nobody's ever going to see it unless they take the drawer out, which happens, I guess, but really not that important. All right, but what we're after is the strength and durability of the joint, and because it's on the back, nobody's going to see it. There's just not a need to make 5. So I'm just gonna use 4 in the back, and the way that we're going to lay it out, our area, rather than being 7 inches, is going to be narrower, just by virtue of the technique or the method. All right, so let me zoom this in and we'll see what we got going on. All right, so we have the back end of our drawer panel, or our drawer side, chucked up in the vise here, and we're ready to do figure the layout for this. So I'm going to start with my dividers that we used on the half blinds on the front, already set, right? I haven't moved them. We're going to use the same setting. All right, starting at the bottom. This is where things get a little different, right? So rather than working from the bottom edge, we want to leave this bottom section alone, right? Because it's housing the drawer bottom and we don't need a dovetail in the middle of it. The other part of that is on the drawer back. We're actually going to cut that section off. So we don't really need a connection there. So the bottom, using that initial setting, I'm taking the dividers, putting it on the top edge of the groove, and making my first mark here. All right, and then down here at the other end on the top, I'm going to come in from the edge, make a mark, and then I'm going to spin it around and I'm going to make a second mark, like so. All right, my pencil. Take my marking gauge on the first mark on the top, straight this, whoop, I got to flip you this way, straight across there. This is going to be a plumb cut, and I'm going to do it on this side so you can see it. So, like so. All right, straight up and down, plumb cut. And then moving to the second mark, using the same 1 6 slope here. Will be, go back. Now again, I'll do it on this side so you can see. 1 6 from the baseline up. All right, so you can see what we've got going here. So we're going to leave this solid, right? Just to give it some rigidity here at the top. Down here at the bottom, we're doing the same thing. We'll go through here. All right, there's that. Straight across the top. Now, I started with this edge, all right? So I'm going to kind of eyeball straight here, because that's the top edge of the groove is the bottom of our joint. All right, if we allowed it to go down in here, it would leave a gap. We don't want a gap. All right, so now I'll take that up the other way. From the baseline up. I'll go ahead and do this side so you can see. 6. Baseline up. All right, so that's what we've got going on here. Now, from that, I can calculate my dovetails. So I've employed a third set of dividers. The first set, obviously, was for the 5 for the front. We don't want to mess with that because we have more drawers to do. So I grabbed a third pair, and now we'll step this one off. And we're going to start from our first mark that we placed in, just like we normally would. All right, it's going to give me 2. It's going to give me 3. All right, as you can see, I'm landing way over here. We're too big. So I'm going to dial that in some. I think I dialed too far, but that'll be all right. We'll go back. 3, 4. I'm going to come in a smidge more. No, like the other way. I want this to land up here. 2, smidge more. Smidge too much. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so now we'll come back in. Get our pencil ready. 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Come back this way. Starting from this second mark. 1. There's 2. And bang. There's that one. All right, there we go. Our mark 6. Starting here. And here. And here. Spin it around. Hold still. And there. All right. Mark our waist. There and here. All right, so there's that one. So now all we have to do, we'll chuck the other one up here in the vise. Do the same thing, then we'll cut these out. Or, you know, I could go ahead and cut it and then switch. But I like to mark it all first and come back. Now, just like we did in the past, set it up in the vise, chuck it up nice and tight, make sure that it is plumb. All right, we're preserving the line. And we'll make the plumb cut here. Down to the baseline. This time I just used my pencil rather than a piece of tape. I've got my light kind of set up a little better today so I can actually see. All right, so now I'm going to cut all of the right sides, and then I'll come back and cut all the lefts. And that has to do with the angle of rotation. All right, if I just stay consistent, that helps in that muscle memory of retaining the same angle all the way through. All right, so I'm going to line it up. Preserve that line. Set my angle. Blade, move to the next. So as I move down the line, I don't just move my hand down the line, right? I'm moving my whole body so that my body and my forearm stay straight or perpendicular to my cut. Okay, so now we've got all of those cut. Got it laid out the same way that we did for the half blinds, right? This is my bottom. There's only one difference, and that difference is here. So this is a plumb cut, the very first one, and this one down here is a plumb cut. So I'm using my offset method. I have offset to the right. So I put my X, I'm cutting the left side of the tail all the way down. And I'm cutting this one, our plumb cut. All right, so I'll mark all of those, and then we'll offset it back to the left. All right, so mark them all with an X again. So we're doing through dovetails this time, so we don't have to go through that same sawing action that we did on the front. Just need to make a nice curve through this edge. Now I'll offset it the other way. Flip that over. And give us a slide. So you don't have to clamp this down. I just find, for me, find it easier. Okay, so now we're cutting the right side. We offset left. We're cutting the right side of the tails. Take that off. Oh, and so on the back, remember we cut with the shoulder plane, we cut a rabbet on this end, which gives us a nice shoulder for alignment. So on this end, I simply use my white tape. The tape that I have is fairly thick, so 2 strips of tape gives me that shoulder that I need for the alignment here on this back edge. All right, so there we go. Now we're ready to cut those out. But I'm going to flip it and do the other end, and then we'll come back and cut them. Almost forgot, so we got one more thing to do here before we start cutting. Took my tape, again, across the baseline so I can see it, and take my marking gauge and set my pencil in the kerf, and we'll mark all of these. And these are all plumb cuts. But it's nice to have that line just to make sure that we stay straight. Like so. Okay, and we can take our dovetail saw and go to town. All right, so now I've got all the waste cut out of this pin board. You'll notice I didn't cut this bottom off. However, when I was going at it with my dovetail saw, I went ahead and cut it. That's not really necessary. You can, when you just mark it, this bottom one, when you mark it with your marking gauge, you can stop right there. Remember, this is the drawer back, and we're actually going to take this to the table saw later and cut this off. All right, we don't want to do that prior because this is the bottom edge, our reference edge, and we leave it on until we're done messing with our layout and getting these prepared and cut. If we cut that off prior, that makes it more difficult. All right, so we'll leave it all together. All right, and I'm going to chop these tops off and keep trucking. Okay, with the pin boards all done and cut, put the sides back in so we can cut the waste out of these tails. For this operation, I'm going to sit down. Now we've got all the tails cut. We've got all the pin boards done. Guess what's next? Choppy, choppy, choppy. Okay, so we don't want to forget, this is the inside face of the drawer side on the half blind dovetail end. We don't want to forget, while we're cleaning all of this out, to pare off the corners of our dovetail, just very lightly. Yeah. All right, just very light. Both sides, like so. It'll help us ensure, as that joint goes together, that if those the corners of our the half or the half blind down there are not perfect in the bottoms, this gives us a little wiggle room so we don't split the that drawer face. We don't have to take a lot, but we need to take some. Like so. And we just come back and clip it off. All right, just pare them off just a smidge. I still didn't get that first one very good. Hit you again. That's better.
What's the tale behind that? So that was opening night. Realized we didn't have any menus, like you say, details.
Really?
I do like that you got
Wait,
to
what was the
open in
first
your
one?
restaurant at the one up on the hill.
The hill was the first
And
one.
so you've got people lined up coming to your restaurant. And at what point during service did someone go, guys, we don't have menus?
Well, it was in the beginning. You know, it's kind of like when you were 16, you had something figured out, but you weren't going to know how to complete it. We were there. Okay. So one of the partners was a graphic artist. He went down to the grocery store, got the big cheap packets.
Well, thank you so much for all the gifts you brought us today. And all through
The memories and the memories too.
Well, also just thanks for fighting the good fight and still, I mean, it is.
With all the chopping done, now I'm going to take the sides and I'm going to chamfer these corners. From the planing, these edges are really sharp. That's no bueno. Smooth. And I'm going to do this bottom edge the same way. All right, so now that I've got the chamfered edges on this top, and I've partially assembled, this is the back and the right side, you can see that the back is up above the side here. I'm going to scribe this across. What I want to do is cut the top part of the back down so that it is just below the bottom of the chamfer on the sides. That way, as the drawer opens and closes, this back isn't dragging on the case on the upper side. All right, so that's quite a bit. So I'll rip this off close to the line on the table saw and then just hand plane it finished. So normally at this point we are ready for assembly. Glue it up and assemble it. However, I've got some CNC work to do on the face, and I have to do that before I can assemble it. So I'll get that done hopefully this week, and we'll assemble it and get it fitted into the case. And we'll be ready to go. So hey, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and we'll see you down the road.